Yeah. Hi guys. Good evening. In the last class, we discussed about what is software project and how many types of projects will be available and how we are going to deliver software project to client. What is software project? Collection of programs is called as one software project. Collection of programs is called as one project. Multiple developers will be involved in the project development. In the IT company, whatever the projects are there, we can categorize them into three types. First one is scratch development, second one is maintenance, and third one is migration. So scratch development means everything we are building from beginning. The development will start from very beginning. That is called scratch development project. Maintenance project, nothing but development already completed. We need to make the changes in the existing project. The project which is already available, we will make some changes in the existing project. That project is called as maintenance project. And the third one is migration project, converting from one technology to another technology. That is called migration project. And next one, by using Java, what type of projects we can develop? Guys, types of applications using Java. Types of applications using Java. By using Java, we can develop different types of applications, right? By using Java, we can develop standalone application. We can develop standalone applications. By using Java, we can develop web applications. By using Java, we can develop distributed applications also. You can develop standalone application by using Java. We can develop web application by using Java, and we can develop distributed applications also by using Java. What is the meaning of standalone application? The application runs only in one computer. The application runs only in one computer. That is called as standalone application. What is a web application? What is a web application? Multiple people can access same application at a time, like Gmail, our Gmail, Google, Facebook. These all are examples for web applications. All right. Now here next one, distributed application. What is the meaning of distributed application? If one application is communicating with another application, for example, Google Pay, Phone Pay. We are using Google Pay. We are transferring money in the bank. By using Google Pay, we are able from one account to another. Google Pay is one application. Yeah. Online people, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yes. Good. Yeah. We are trying to understand what is distributed application. If one application is communicating with another application, that is a distributed application. For standalone applications, the example is our Eclipse IDE. And another example we can take as calculator, and we can take as Notepad++, etc. These applications comes under standalone applications. Only we can access them in one computer. Coming to web applications, multiple users can access web application at a time. www.gmail.com, www.facebook.com, etc. This comes under web application. Next one, distributed application. What is the meaning of distributed application? One application will communicate with another application. Now, Make My Trip is available. We can book a train ticket by using Make My Trip. Make My Trip will communicate with the IRCTC to book the train ticket. Getting my point? By using Make My Trip, we are booking a flight ticket. So Make My Trip application will communicate with other application. Google Pay will communicate with our bank application. Phone Pay will communicate with our bank application. Paytm will communicate with the bank application. By using Book My Show, we are booking a movie ticket. It is communicating with the theater applications, right? By using Swiggy, we are ordering the food. Swiggy application will communicate with restaurant application. Swiggy will communicate with the bank application for the payment. And next one, we are we are making orders in the Amazon and Flipkart. They will communicate with the courier application. Blue Dot is a courier. When I book a mobile in the Amazon employee will deliver the mobile? No. Who will deliver that? Courier. That is a Blue Dot. A vendor is available. Blue Dot is the vendor for the Amazon. Whenever you place a order in the Amazon will give the order to Blue Dot. Blue Dot will deliver the order to the customer. We are communicating with Amazon. Amazon will communicate with the Blue Dot. Blue Dot will communicate with the Amazon. One software project will communicate with another software project. And second scenario, you will apply for a passport. When you apply for a passport, it will ask your Aadhaar number. Yes or no? Whenever you enter Aadhaar number, it will communicate with the Aadhaar application. Passport application will communicate with Aadhaar application to verify your Aadhaar number is valid or not. That means one software project will communicate with another software project. If one project is communicating with another project, that project is called as distributed project. That project is called distributed project. To develop those distributed applications, we will use web services in the Java. What is that concept, guys? Web services. What is a web service? To establish communication between one application to another application, we will use web services concept. By using Java, we can develop such kind of web services. We can develop web applications. We can develop standalone applications also. What is the example? GPay can be taken as an example. Phone Pay can be taken as an example. Paytm can be taken as an example. Make My Trip can be taken as an example. IRCTC can be taken as an example. And similarly, nowadays, microservices we are developing. Front end will be developed by using Angular. Back end will be developed by using Java. Front end is one application. Back end is one application. There should be some communication. That is also a distributed application. Front end we are developing by using Angular technology. Back end we are developing by using Java. How Angular application communicating with the Java? Web service. There will be a web service. So nowadays, every project is developing as distributed project only. To decouple the functionality, we are developing distributed applications. Are you clear with my point? How many types of applications can be developed by using Java? 3 types of applications can be developed by using Java. First one is standalone application. Second one is web application. Third one is distributed application. What is the difference between web application and distributed application? Web application means one single application. Multiple users can access at a time. Web application means it is called as C2B, customer to business. Web application means what? Customer to business. Now, I am running institute business. I have a web application. Who will access my web application? Students, users can access. You are a customer for Ashok IT. You can access my application. You can see what are the services providing by Ashok IT, what are the courses available, course fees, course content, course duration, course demo classes. You are a customer. you will communicate with Ashok IT website. Ashok IT website is a web application. Will any other institute website can communicate with my website? No. Why they will not communicate? I will not allow them. If I allow them to communicate, they will access my data. Are you getting my point? Only people should communicate with my business application. Any application which can be accessed by customers, that is called web application. The main purpose of the web applications, customer to business. Why we are developing web application? Customer to business. Whatever the business we are doing, that business should be accessed by customers in the market. For that reason, we will develop web application. Our institute website is the best example for web application. Coming to distributed application. Distributed application means one application can communicate with the another application for service. One application services should be accessed by another application. IRCTC is the Indian government project that is the owner for Indian railway system. How many trains are available in the India? Where is the train? What is the start point? What is the end point? Price? Everything will be known by IRCTC. By using Make My Trip also, we can book the train ticket. But does Make My Trip know Indian railway system? No. Make My Trip is just one company. That is just one website. How that Make My Trip is allowing us to book the train ticket? Integration. You will communicate with the Make My Trip. Make My Trip will communicate with the IRCTC to book the ticket. One project will communicate with another project. Such a kind of projects are called as distributed projects. By using Java, we are going to develop these applications also. Standalone, web, distributed. Tomorrow, when we join in the company, our application requirement will be second one and third one. Nobody using Java for standalone. Are we going to develop standalone application? Very less. Very less requirement will be available. 95% of the requirements on web applications and distributed application. Nowadays, in the 95, 5% only web application, 90% are distributed applications only. Whatever the application we are developing today, that application can be accessed by end user, that application can be accessed by other applications also. We need to become distributed application developer. End users should be able to access our application. Another application also should be able to access our application. Now tell me, IRCTC comes under which category? Both. IRCTC is doing both, right? Can I directly book a ticket with IRCTC? That means as a customer, can I communicate with IRCTC? Yes. IRCTC providing C2B, customer to business. End users can communicate with the IRCTC directly. Can Make My Trip communicate with the IRCTC? Yes or no? Yes. Make My Trip also can communicate with the IRCTC. Customer also can communicate with the IRCTC. That means what that IRCTC comes under? IRCTC providing C2B communication as well as B2B communication. C2B means customer to business communication. B2B means business to business communication. IRCTC doing business. Make My Trip also doing business. Business to business communication is happening with the IRCTC. So what is our goal? Tomorrow when you go for company, what kind of application we will develop? Web applications as well as distributed applications. You got the clarity, the difference between web application and distributed application? Yes. One application can act as both web and distributed also. Best example, IRCTC. Simple. SBI net banking. Can I directly communicate with SBI? Can I log in into SBI? Can I do the transactions? Yes. Can I transfer the amount from my Axis Bank to your SBI account through Google Pay? That means Google Pay communicating with SBI. End user communicating with SBI. So SBI comes under which category? Both. SBI is providing C2B
as well as B2B. What is C2B? What is B2B? Customer to business communication, business to business communication. So now tomorrow in the Java course, at the end of this course, you will be able to develop front-end application and back-end application. Front-end application we are developing by using Angular. Front-end application we are developing by using Angular. NG means Angular. Now, back-end application I am developing by using Boot. Okay, this is developed by using one technology. This is developed by using another technology. One is a Java application, another one is a Angular application. Front end is there, back end is there. Front end application should communicate with the back end application. Can I call them as distributed? Yes or no? Yes, they are distributed applications only. User interface will be available in one project. Business logic will be available in another project. So user interface application will communicate with the business logic application. Whatever the backend application we are developing, this backend application is called as REST API. What we are going to develop? REST API. Those REST APIs are called as web services. Those REST APIs are called web services. So REST API is used to develop distributed application. Our Spring Boot application we will develop as a distributed application. User interface we will develop by using Angular. Angular application will communicate with the Spring Boot application. This can be an Angular application or it can be a React application also. Front end can be developed by using Angular or we can develop by using React also. At the end of the course, we will be able to develop one distributed end-to-end application. Front end with Angular, back end with Spring Boot. Are you clear with my point? Sir, if you want to develop by using Spring Boot, why to learn servlet? Spring Boot is developed based on Spring. Spring is developed based on J2EE, servlets only. Without having knowledge on servlets, we can't understand Spring. Without understanding the Spring, we can't understand Spring Boot. Without understanding Spring Boot, we cannot develop that REST API. So everything is linked. We need to go step by step. Good. So now we understood how many types of applications can be developed by using Java. Let's start. Okay, when we are developing these applications, how to deliver these projects to client, how to deliver project to client. Can we write the code? Hey, take this code in the pen drive. No. Are we going to give the code to the client in the pen drive? No. Why? They don't know. They don't know Java. Clients don't know Java. So now we need to deliver the project to the client in the client understandable format. If you give the Java code, he can't understand anything. So that's why there is some format we need to follow to deliver a project to the client. If our project is a standalone application, that project will be delivered as a jar file. What is the meaning of a jar file? Jar file stands for Java archive. Jar file stands for Java archive. Now, what will be there in the jar file? Yeah, what will be there in the jar file, guys? Jar file contains collection of dot class files. Project means collection of programs only. All the programs will be compiled. Dot class files will be created. All the dot class files will package as a jar file. That jar file we will deliver to the client. For every Java project, are we going to deliver as a jar file? Every Java project can be delivered as a jar file? No. Why? Based on type of the application. If the application is a standalone application, then only we will deliver that as a jar file. If the project is a web application, come on guys, if my project is a web application that can be delivered as a WAR file. Enterprise application or distributed applications will be available. They can be delivered as a EAR file, enterprise archive. Okay, web archive, Java archive, these are called as enterprise archive. Enterprise archive. All right. So then later we discussed about how many layers will be available in the project. Every project we are going to develop by using layered architecture. Already we discussed that. Presentation layer will be available, web layer will be available, and business layer will be available, and persistence layer also will be available. Can you tell me what is the persistence layer? Which contains the logic to communicate with a database. Any logic which is responsible to communicate with the database, that is called as persistence layer. What is the business layer? It contains business logic. It is changing every day, right? Every day our logic is going to change. Web layer, it contains the logic to deal with request and response. As we discussed here, Angular application will have the UI. Request will come from the Angular application to boot application. Boot application to capture the request data, which is coming from the Angular application. And it will execute the logic. Finally, it will send the response back to the Angular application. Web layer contains logic to deal with request and response. What data we need to capture, what data we need to display. That part will be available in the web layer. Then coming to presentation layer, user interface, forms, buttons, text fields, menu, headers, footer, all the presentation logic will be available in the presentation layer. Presentation layer is also called as user interface. All right, good. Now, let me take one simple Java class and let me show you how to create a jar file for that. Okay, yeah, I'm taking one class with a name called user.java. I'm taking a class user.java, right? Public class user. Let me take one simple main method. Public static void main string arguments system.out.println hi, I am John. Something like this, right? So here I'm taking one class with a name called user, public static void main method. I'm taking one simple SOP statement. That's it. Okay, now let's close this. Open command prompt, compile this Java program and run this Java program. Java C demo.java. Sorry. Java C user.java. Compiled successfully. Java space user. Hi, I'm John. So my program is executing as expected. That class file is also available. When the dot class file is available, do we need the .java file? No, delete it. I deleted that. I don't need that because am I going to give the source code for the client? Why? Business. Client don't know the source code. If any changes required, tomorrow he should come to me only. Right. Now here we are going to use, there is a dot class file is available. Now I want to package this dot class file as a jar file and I want to give the jar file to the client. Okay. Now we need to understand how to create a jar file. We need to understand how to create a jar file. Getting my point? Yes. See here, to create the jar file, we are going to use a command jar space CVFE space app dot jar space user space star dot class. All right, jar CVFE space app.jar space user space star dot class. Sir, what is the meaning of this command? Let's understand. Okay, the command that I'm going to give here is jar command. Jar is the command. Jar is available. Jar is a command. How we have Java command? Similarly, we have a jar command. Jar space CVFE. C nothing but create. V means verbose. Create a file with the entry point. C means create. V means verbose. F means file. E means entry point. Entry point means when we run the jar file, from where it has to start. What is the start class of our project? The class which contains a main method, that is our start class. That start class will be represented by using entry point. CVFE. C means create. V means verbose. Verbose means how the jar file is created, display that output. Display the output on the console. That is called verbose. Next one, create a file. F, E means entry point. CVFE space jar file name. What is the file name you want to give? Jar file name space dot jar. And here we need to give our main class. When we run that jar file, which class it has to execute? Name of that class. What is the class we have? User. User class is having a main method. I'm giving that class name space star dot class. In the current directory, what all the dot class files available, keep all the dot class files into single jar file. So project means collection of dot class files. So we may have 10 dot class files. We may have 20 dot class files. I want to combine all the dot class files into this jar file. In order to run this jar file, this is the main class. This is the entry point. Are you clear with my command? What is the command? Jar space CVFE space jar file name hyphen dot jar and main class and star dot class. What is the meaning of star dot class? All the dot class files should be packaged as a jar file. What is this main class? When we run the jar file, which class should execute? What is the entry point for our project execution? That we will specify by using E option. What is the name of the jar file you want to keep? File name dot jar create verbose file entry point. Create verbose file entry point. What is the jar? Jar is a command. Let's try this now. We have user.class. Let's go to our command prompt. Yeah. Jar space CVFE space file name. I want to keep the file name as app.jar. What is the class available which is having a main method? User. User is the entry point. Star.class. Star.class. Create it. Yes. What happened now? Can you see one jar file is created? What is the name available in the jar file? App.jar. So our project will be packaged as a jar file. So you are going to create several classes. All the classes will be packaged as a jar file. Inside that jar file, source code is available or bytecode is available. Bytecode is available. Bytecode is available. That means dot class files are available. How many dot class files are there? Only one. Can I keep 100 dot class files also? Can I keep 1000 dot class files also? Yes. RT.jar. Sun Microsystem developed Java software by creating so many classes. Object class, system class, scanner class, buffer reader, array list. All these classes are packaged into RT.jar file. They have given RT.jar file for us. Okay. Now, by using Java software, by using Java classes, we developed our project. Our project we need to deliver to the client. In order to deliver our project to the client, we are creating jar file. What is the command to create the jar file? Jar CVFE space app.jar space entry point space dot class files. There can be multiple dot class files. That's why I'm giving the name as start dot class. Are you clear? Now, do I need this dot class once the jar is available? Delete it. I deleted that dot. First I created Java file. From the Java file, I created a dot class file. After a dot class file is created, I removed my dot Java. I don't need that. With that dot class file, I created jar file. After jar is created, I deleted dot class also. Why? No need of that, because what is there in that jar? What is the meaning of jar? Jar means collection of dot class files only. My dot class file is available. I will give this dot jar file to the client. I will give this jar file to the client. Sir, how to execute the jar file? How to run this jar file? To run the jar file, we need to go for a command. Okay, what is that command? Jar space hyphen jar, sorry, Java space hyphen jar space app dot jar. Are we able to execute our program? Where is our program? Where is our program available now? Our program is available inside the jar file. Are you getting my point? So we are able to create the jar file and we are able to run the jar file. Any standalone project we develop, that standalone project will be delivered as a jar file. Are you clear with my point? Yes. Now, sir, I want to see what is the content of the jar file. What classes are available in the jar file? I want to see that content. In order to see the content of the jar file, jar hyphen xvf space app dot jar. Okay, I am trying to extract the jar file. Jar space hyphen xvf space app dot jar. I want to see what all the files available in the jar file. Enter. Extracted. Okay, can you see what all the files we have in the jar? I kept only dot class file, but along with the dot class file, what is there? Meta inf. There is a folder created called meta inf. Inside the meta inf, there is a file called manifest file that is like a user manual. Manifest file is available, that is like a user manual. Let me open that manifest file and see what is there. Inside the manifest file, version 1.0, this is created by using Java 1.8 version. The main class is user. That means inside the jar file, user is a main class. When you run the jar file, user class will be executed. That is the meaning of that manifest file. When we purchase a mobile, we will get a user manual. Similarly, when we deliver a jar file, we will give the manifest file also. Who created that manifest file? Did I create? Who created that? Jar command. When I create the jar file, that manifest file also created. So we know how to create a jar. We know how to run a jar. We know how to extract the jar file. Are you clear with my point? Yes, make a note. Keeps advanced Java. Maintain a separate book. From today, advanced Java, I mean, whatever the basic concept, part of advanced Java. By using Java, advanced Java, first page. By using Java, online people also please write the notes. By using advanced Java, sorry, by using Java, we can develop below types of applications. By using Java, we can develop below types of applications. By using Java, we can develop below types of applications. First one is standalone application. By using Java, we can develop below types of applications. By using Java, we can develop below types of applications.
By using Java, we can develop below types of applications. First one is standalone applications. First one is standalone applications. You can take the 3 points. Yeah. By using Java, we can develop below types of applications: standalone applications, web applications, distributed applications. Distributed applications. Take those examples also. Eclipse is example for standalone, Gmail example for web, Google Pay, Phone Pay, Paytm, Make My Trip, IRCTC examples for distributed applications. Right? Yes. Next one. Standalone applications will be delivered to the client. Standalone applications will be delivered to the client. Standalone applications will be delivered to the client as a jar file. Standalone applications will be delivered to the client as a jar file. Standalone applications will be delivered to the client as a jar file. Standalone applications will be delivered to the client as a jar file. Note, jar stands for Java archive. Jar stands for Java archive, which contains collection of .class files. Jar stands for Java archive, which contains collection of .class files. Jar contains collection of .class files. Jar stands for Java archive. Jar contains collection of .class files. Next point. Web applications will be delivered as war file. Web applications will be delivered as war file. Web applications will be delivered as war file. WAR stands for Web Archive. Web applications will be delivered as a WAR file. WAR stands for Web Archive. WAR stands for Web Archive. Note, to run the WAR files, we need a server. To run the WAR file, we need server. Example, Tomcat, JBoss, etc. Tomcat, JBoss, etc. Tomcat, JBoss, etc. Those are the servers we are going to use to run our web applications. Next one. Enterprise applications will be packaged as a EAR file. Enterprise applications will be packaged as a EAR file. Enterprise applications will be packaged as EAR file. EAR stands for Enterprise Archive. Enterprise Archive. Yeah. Next one. Project architecture. Next one, project architecture. Take this diagram. Project architecture. Take this diagram. We'll do that. I will do that. People want that. I don't know. We'll see. Slowly we'll reduce that. Completed. No. Completed. Yeah. Next point. Database is a software which is used to store the data. Database is a software which is used to store the data. Database is a software which is used to store the data permanently. Database is a software which is used to store the data permanently. Database is a software which is used to store the data permanently. Good. Next one. Persistent layer contains the logic. Persistence layer contains the logic. Persistence layer contains the logic to communicate with database. Persistence layer contains the logic to communicate with database. Note, we will use JDBC to develop persistence layer. Note, we will use JDBC to develop. We will use JDBC to develop persistence layer. 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 Next one. Business layer contains business logic of the application. Business layer contains business logic of the application. Business layer contains business logic of the application. Example, email sending, OTP sending, calculations, etc. Example, email sending, OTP sending, calculations, etc. Those comes under business logic of the application. Those comes under business logic of the application. Okay. Next one. Business layer contains business logic of the application. Examples, sending email, sending OTP, calculations comes under business logic. Next one. Web layer. Web layer contains the logic to deal with. Web layer contains the logic to deal with request and response. Web layer contains the logic to deal with request and response. Web layer contains the logic to deal with request and response. Note, we can use servlets to develop web layer. 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 Next one, presentation layer. Presentation layer contains user interface. 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 Clear? Presentation layer contains user interface. That's it. Yeah. Next one. How to create a jar file. Next, note down that how to create jar file. How to create jar file. How to create jar file. Okay, the command for we discussed already, right? How to create a jar file. Jar stands for Java archive. Jar stands for Java archive. Jar stands for Java archive. Jar contains collection of .class files. Jar contains collection of .class files. Syntax to create the jar. Jar CVFE file name .jar, then main class to run that, then next one star.class. This is the syntax to create the jar file. Jar space CVFE space file name with the .jar as the extension, main class which is the entry point to run the jar file, and which .class files you want to keep in the jar file, star.class. Syntax to create the jar file. Jar space CVFE space file name .jar and main class space star.class. Here C means create. Jar is a command. Jar is a command to deal with jar files. Jar is a command to deal with the jar files. And the next one, C means create. C means create. V means verbose. V means verbose. Verbose means display the output to the console. F means file. E means entry point. E means entry point. Jar is a command to deal with the jar files. C means create. V means verbose. F means file. E means entry point. So we are creating a jar file. You can give any name for the file. Extension should be .jar. And what is this main class? What is the main class, guys? Yes, main class represents entry point to run the jar file. Entry point to execute the application. Entry point to our application. Entry point to our application. That's it. Jar is a command. Jar is a command to deal with jar files. Create, verbose, file, entry point. Main class represents entry point to our application execution. Entry point to our application execution. Okay. Yes. Next one. Star.class. What is the meaning of star.class? That means all the .class files of the current working directory. Star.class means packaging all .class files available in current working directory. In current working directory. So project means collection of .class files. All the .class files we need to package into jar file. For that we are giving star.class. Star.class represents all the .class files available in current working directory. Available in current working directory. Completed, guys. Jar stands for Java archive. Jar contains a collection of .class files. This is the syntax to create a jar file. Jar space CVFE space file name .jar main class star.class. Jar is a command to deal with jar files. C means create, V means verbose, F means file, E means entry point. Main class represents entry point to run, entry point for
our application execution. Dot class means packaging all dot class files available in the current working directory as a jar file. Next one. Once this jar file is created, how to run this jar file, guys? What is the command to run the jar file? What is the syntax to run the jar file? Java space hyphen jar space jar file name. This is the command. Java space hyphen jar space jar file name. File name completely. File name dot jar. Whatever the jar file is available, we will give that. Java space hyphen jar space jar file name dot jar. This is the syntax to run the jar file. When we run the jar file, it will use the manifest file. It will understand what is the main class to run and it will run that program. How to create the jar file and how to run the jar file. Now, how to extract jar file? How to extract jar file? How to extract jar file? Okay. What is the command? Jar hyphen xvf space jar file name dot jar. Jar space hyphen xvf space jar file name hyphen xvf. Extract that file and display the output to the console. V means verbose. Jar space hyphen xvf space jar file name. Which is jar file you want to extract? That file with X means extract, V means verbose, F means file. Verbose means what classes it is extracting, it will print that message on the console. Jar space hyphen xvf space jar file name dot jar. Jar space hyphen xvf space jar file name dot jar. Are you clear? Yes, fine. So we understood how to create a jar file for the project, and we understood how to run that jar file, and we are able to extract the jar file also. Standalone applications will be delivered as a jar file. Verbose means displaying output on the console. Okay. Now see, when I extract jar hyphen xvf app.jar, it is displaying some output, right? This is because of verbose option. If I don't give V option here, these messages will not print on the console. Verbose means display the work. What that command is doing internally, that work will be printed on the console. That is called verbose. Okay. Now here, guys, now let's understand one topic here. There is a class called user.class. Where is that user.class is available? User.class available directly, or user.class is available inside jar file. This is my user.class. I packaged this user.class file inside one jar file. Inside one jar file. What is the jar file? That is app.jar. App.jar contains user.class. Observe carefully now. There is a class with a name called user. For the user, I have created a jar file. User class is available in the jar file. Now here, I want to create one more class called demo class, demo.java. Inside the demo class, can I create the object for the user and can I use the user object? That is simply, it is referring one class in the another class. Normally, one class we can use in the another class, right? Can I create one class object in the another class? Yes or no? Yes, one class object we can create in the another class. Same thing I want to do, but the thing is, my user class is available in the jar file. I want to create a demo class. Inside the demo class, I want to create the object for the user class. I want to print a hash code of the user object. Very simple task. Can we do that? Yes. Now let's go here. Let me create one simple Java class. Work. I have app.jar. Inside the app.jar, user class is available. Let me open new text document. I'm going for demo.java. I'm going for demo.java. Public class demo. Public class demo. Now let us write a main method. Public static void main string args. String args. Now I'm trying to create object for user u is equal to new user system dot out dot println of user. System dot println of user. Is there anything new logic I'm writing? No. I'm trying to create object for one class in the another class. User is one class that is available in the jar file. For that user class, I'm creating the object in the demo class. Okay, save this program file, save it. Can I compile this now? Yeah, tell me the command. Java C demo.java. Read the error. What is happening? What it is telling now? Cannot find the symbol. My Java compiler don't know what is that user. My Java compiler don't know what is that user. Where is that user? Where is that user? User is available in the jar file. Our Java compiler don't know that user class is available. We know that user class is available in the jar file because we developed that user class. We created that jar file. We know that inside that jar file, user class is available. What about JVM and Java compiler? Does they know about our user class? No. Here, Java compiler knows demo class because demo class source code is available here. Demo.java is available. I executed Java C space demo.java. It is trying to compile demo class. As part of the demo class compilation, it has to load user class. Is that user class available now? Is available, but where it is available? Inside the jar file. We know that. What about Java compiler? Java compiler don't know that. Java compiler don't know that the user class is available inside the jar file. Last time, I mean, in the initial classes, when we compile the Java program, it told that Java C not recognized. Yes or no? It told that Java C not recognized. How we resolve that problem? By path setting. Why we need to do the path setting? Why we need to do the path setting? To tell to my operating system where is the Java software installed. For that we have done the path setting. So Java C working, Java is working. But the thing is, in one Java program, I am referring to another Java program. That program is available inside the jar file. My Java compiler not able to understand where is that user class. But as a programmer, I know that user class is available in the jar file. My compiler don't know user class is available in the jar file. Are you getting my concept? What we need to do now? We need to tell to that Java compiler, hey Java compiler, that user class is available in this jar file, take from the jar file. Are you getting my point? That is called class path setting. Earlier what we have done? Path setting. Now what we need to do? Class path setting. What is the difference between path setting and class path setting. Path setting is used to tell where Java software is installed. Class path is used to tell where our .class files are available. Are you guys able to follow me? So I developed one project, user class is available. I packaged that project as a jar file. User class I want to use in the another project. So here I need to tell to my Java compiler, hey Java compiler, you need to compile demo.java. To compile the demo.java, you need a user class. User class is available in the jar file. Take that jar file, load that jar file, then compile my class. Take that jar file, load that jar file into memory, then compile my Java class. How to do that class path setup? Let us see. We are going to do class path setup now. Set class path is equal to app.jar semicolon dot semicolon semicolon dot semicolon semicolon dot semicolon represents current working directory. Also you need to load this jar file and you need to represent current working directory also. What I am doing here, class path setup, execute it. Yes, class path setup is completed. So what is the meaning of class path? We are giving the information to Java compiler where it has to search for the classes. Where it has to search for the classes. I have given jar file name. My Java compiler should search for the class files in the .jar file. Now compile. Java C space demo.java. Are we able to compile now? Earlier we were not able to compile, but now we are able to compile. Why? Earlier my Java compiler not able to find where is that user.class file available. So we need to inform to the Java compiler where our .class files are available. How to inform to the compiler where our .class files available? By using class path setup. Path setup is required, class path setup also required. What is the difference between path setup and class path setup? Path is used to tell the location of the Java software we have installed. Class path setup is used to locate where the .class files are available. Are you getting my point? Next note. If we want to use .class files, if we want to use .class files of jar file, if we want to use .class files of jar file in our project, if we want to use .class files of jar file in our project, then we need to set up class path. If we want to use .class files of jar file, if we want to use .class files of jar file in our project, then we need to set up class path. We need to set up class path. Next point, class path is used to load. Class path is used to load. Class path is used to load .class files. Class path is used to load .class files. Class path is used to load .class files. Next question. Now, next point, take like this. Set class path is equal to app.jar, something like this. Set class path is equal to app.jar. Set class path is equal to app.jar. Set class path is equal to app.jar. Got it? Next point. What is the difference between path and class path? You can write that, write a point. What is the difference between path and class path? What is the difference between path and class path? What is the difference between path and class path? Path is used to locate where our Java software is installed. Path is used to locate. Path is used to locate where our Java software is installed. Path is used to locate where our Java software is installed. Path is used to locate where our Java software is installed. Class path is used to locate where our .class files are available. Class path is used to locate the .class files. Class path is used to locate the .class files. Class path is used to locate the .class files. Okay guys, suppose somebody developed a project, they gave the jar file. In their project some classes are available. Can I use the classes of one jar file in my project? Yes or no? So there is one contains some .class files. Can I use those .classes in my project? How to use that? By setting class path. Why we need to set the class path? What is the purpose of class path? To locate the .class files. What is the difference between path setup and class path setup? Path is used to locate where the Java software is installed. Class path is used to locate where the .class files are available. Are you clear? Now I want to do all this work once again. Okay guys, now next one more point, note down. If we do class path setup in the command prompt, that is a temporary. If we do class path setup in command prompt, if we do class path setup in command prompt, if we do class path setup in command prompt, that is the temporary. If we do class path setup in command prompt, if we do class path setup in command prompt, that is temporary. If we close the command prompt, we will lose the class path. If we close the command prompt, then we will lose the class path. If we set the class path in command prompt, that is a temporary. If we close the command prompt, we will lose the class path. If we close the command prompt, then we will lose the class path. Samjha? Right. Now, let us see here. My task is very simple. I'm deleting everything available here, guys. I deleted everything. Observe. Task. Okay. The task is like this. Create user.class. Sorry, no, I'm writing that. Create user class, package user class as a jar file, package user class as a jar file, then delete user.java and user.class files. Got my point? Observe the task carefully. Create user class. I'm creating one user program, just a class, that's it. No need to do anything in that. Just I'm creating user class, package user class as a jar file. Once it is packaged as a jar file, delete user.java and user.class files both. Delete both user.java and user.class files. Okay. Next one, create demo.java class. Create demo.java class with the main method. Create object for user. Create object for user class and print hash code of the object. And print hash code of the object. Hash code of the user object. This is the task. So why we are practicing this is, if we go for our JDBC, for executing our first JDBC program, we need to set the class path. Without setting the class path, we cannot run the first JDBC program. I am preparing the base for advanced Java. How to create a jar file, how to run a jar file, how to use jar file classes in our classes, how to set the class path. We are understanding the basics. All right. Yes. My task is create a user class, package user class as a jar file, compile, create user class and compile it, create user class and compile it, package user class as a jar file, delete both user.java and user.class files, create demo.java class with main method, create object for user class and print hash code of the user object. Okay, now let me do these steps now. I'm going, this is my work folder, nothing is available. Observe the steps carefully, guys. You need to practice this for today. So here in advanced Java, I have taken a work directory, nothing is available. I'm creating one simple Java class, which is user.java, public class user. That's it. I'm not doing anything else. Just I'm creating one user class. Close it. Just one class is available. Why? To create the object, we need a class. I created a class. Open my command prompt. Compile this class because we need to package it as a jar file. Jar file contains what? That class file. So for a user class, I don't want to run that jar. I just want to create it. That's it. Okay. So here I have user.java class. I need to compile and I need to package. Compile means convert the source code to bytecode. What is the meaning of a package? Convert the .class file to jar file. What is a jar file? Collection of .class files only. Similarly, can we do one more thing? Can I create one more Java class like student? Yes or no? Yeah. Student.java. Here also public class student. No main method. Just user class is created. Student class is created. Let me compile these classes. Java C student.java, Java C user.java. Two classes I have compiled. .class files are created. When the .class files are created, do I need the .java files? Not required. Okay, fine. Now let me create jar file. I have .class files. Now I want to create a jar file. How to create the jar file? Jar CVF. Now, do we need E? Do we need entry point? Is there any main method to execute? Entry point is optional now. If you really want to run that jar file, then only you need to specify the entry point. But do I have main method in the user class? Can I run that? No. Do I have main method in the student class? Can I run that? Those two classes does not have a main method. So I cannot run them. Just I need to create a jar file. E is not required. CVF, create verbose file. CVF space jar file name. I'm giving it as project.jar. Project.jar. So now entry point is not required. Star.class. Are you clear? What is the meaning of this? Create project.jar with the .class files. Is it going to take the .java files or it is going to take only .class files now? It will take only .class files. I am giving star.class. Are you clear with the command? Jar cvf project.jar star.class. This jar which I am creating, can we run that jar? Can we run that jar? No. Why? No entry point. Why I am not giving entry point? Because there is no class which contains a main method. Earlier jar file, this jar file difference is, earlier jar file was runnable jar file. This is a normal jar file. So jar files are two types. One is normal jar file and the second one is a runnable jar file. What is the difference between normal jar file and runnable jar file? Come on. Runnable jar file means the jar file which contains an entry point. Runnable jar file means the jar file which contains a entry point. What is the meaning of entry point? Which will have a class with a main method to run the program. Normal jar file, no entry point, just jar, collection of classes. You cannot run that. You cannot run that. Are you clear or should I repeat? Jar files are two types. One is runnable jar file. Another one is normal, non-executable. Executable jar file, non-executable jar file. What is the meaning of executable jar file? The jar file which contains entry point is called as executable jar file. The jar file which does not contain the entry point is called as normal jar file. Okay. Now here I'm going to create that jar file, non-executable jar file. I don't want to execute it. Just I want to package my .class files into one jar file. Okay, here see jar cvf. What is the meaning of cvf? Create verbose file space project dot jar space star dot class. Okay, enter. Now can we see project.jar is created? Created, man. Created or not? Yes, project.jar is created. So once the jar is created, what is there in that jar? Which .class files are available? User.class file is available and student.class file is also available. Now can I delete the Java files and .class files? Yes, delete. Gone. They are deleted. But still, can I use the user class and student class? I lost them completely or they're available in the jar file? Available in the jar file. Now, let me create one class with a name called demo.java. Let me create one class called demo.java. .java. 1 minute. .java. Okay. Go to this. Now my requirement is I want to create the object for the user class. I want to create the object for student class. I want to print a hash codes. Okay guys, good. Let me write the program. Public class demo. Then let's go for main method. Public static void main string arguments. String arguments. Okay. Next one. What we need to do? Create the object for user. Where is the user? Inside the jar file. User u is equal to new user. User u is equal to new user. System dot out dot println u dot hash code. U dot hash code. Similarly, student s is equal to new student. Where is student? Inside the jar file. System dot out dot println s dot hash code. S dot hash code. Done. Completed. Yes. Now go to command prompt. Go to command prompt. Java C demo.java. Error expected. Error is expected. Why? Java compiler is trying to compile demo.java. Demo.java is using user class as well as student class. Observe. When we compile this demo class, demo class is trying to create the object for the user. Now, Java compiler will check for user.class file in the present working directory. Are you getting my point? It will check for user.class, student.class files in the present working directory. Those files available in the present working directory are, those files are not available in the present working directory. Those files are not available in the present working directory. Where those files are available? In the jar file. We know that, but compiler don't know. Are you getting my point? So we created that jar file. Inside that jar file, user.class file available, student.class file available. We know that, but our compiler don't know. How to tell to compiler, hey boss, don't give the error, load them from the jar file. How can I give that instruction to the compiler? By setting the class path. What is the difference between path setup and class path? Path is used to locate where our Java software is available. Class path is used to locate where our .class files are available. Are you clear? Yes. Now tell me how to set the class path. How to set the class path? Set class path is equal to project.jar semicolon dot semicolon. Is this permanent class path setup? Is this temporary class path setup? Temporary. Why it is temporary? Command prompt. If I close my command prompt, I will lose that. I will lose the session, right? I will lose that session. Now enter. Class path setup completed. Can we compile the demo.java now? Java space, Java C space, demo.java. Java C space, demo.java. I'm compiling. What compiler will do? What compiler will do? It will try to load the demo. First, it will check for the demo in the current working directory. So user class, student class, available in the current working directory, not available? Not available. Then compiler will check, is there any class path I need to verify? Is there any class path that I need to verify? Yes, it has to verify the class path because I set the class path. What is the class path I set? Project.jar. Then compiler will go to project.jar. It will check in that jar file, do we have user.class and student.class? They are available or not available? Available. Then it will load them. Is it required to compile once again? Already they are compiled. Already they are compiled. .class files only, right? So directly it will load that .class file and it will compile our demo.java. Execute. Compiled. Why it compiled now? Because of that class path. Can we run now? Java space demo. Are we able to get the hash code? That is, one is user hash code, another one is a student hash code. Okay, let me close this. I closed my command prompt. Open command prompt once again. Open command prompt once again. Java space demo. Class path is gone. Now there is a difference between class not found exception, no definition class found error exception, right? So why we are getting no class definition found error? First time, I already explained this in the class. I explained. When I explained reflection API, I explained this. Come on. Right. Now here I am directly running my Java program. Which program I am running now? Demo. So when I am running the demo program, it is running the demo.class. Demo class is referring to user class and student class. Where that user class and student class available? inside the jar file. Is my JVM able to load them? Is my JVM able to load them? No. Why? JVM also don't know that those classes are available in the jar file. Are you able to follow this? Yes. Now, how to inform the JVM that these classes are available in the jar file? We need to set the class path. How to set the class path? Already we set the class path, right? Again, why it is asking? I closed my command prompt. That's why we lost that class path. Again, we need to set the class path. How to set it? Set class path is equal to project.jar semicolon dot semicolon. Enter. Then Java space demo. Are we getting that? Is it able to load the user class and demo class now? Yes, it is able to load the user class and student class from the jar file. I hope you got the clarity of what is path and what is class path. Yes. Anyone can tell me what is path and class path? Path is used to identify where our Java software is installed. Class path is used to identify where our .class files are available. In the advanced Java, for every program, we need to set the class path. For every project we are going to develop in the advanced Java, we need to set the class path. Why we need to set the class path? To tell to Java, to tell to compiler, to tell to JVM, some classes we are using available in the jar files. Some classes we are going to use which are available in the jar file. Okay. For JDBC also class path is required. For servlets also class path is required. For Hibernate also class path required. For Spring class path required. For Spring Boot class path required. From today onwards, every day we need to work with the class path. Are you clear? Perfect. Create user class and student class. Create user class and student class. Compile both user and student classes. Compile both user and student classes. Package user.class and student.class as a jar file. Name I'm giving as project.jar. Project.jar. Delete all .java and .class files. Okay, guys. Create user class and student class. Compile both user and student classes. Package user.class and student class as a jar file. Name project.jar. Delete after jar is created. After jar is created, then delete all .java and .class files. Create demo.java class with main method. Create an object for user and student and print hash code of both objects. Hash code of both objects. Create demo.java class with main method. Create objects for user and student. Create objects for user and student and print hash code of both objects. Are we able to complete this task? Yes. So what is the conclusion for today? What we learned today? Today we learned how to create a jar file, how to run a jar file, how to set the class path for the jar file. So here jar files are two types: executable jar file, non-executable jar file. It is also called as runnable jar file and non-runnable jar file. Make a note of that. Make a note. Jar files are divided into two types. 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 One is executable jar file, another one is non-executable jar file. Jar files are divided into two types. One is executable jar file, another one is non-executable jar file. Executable jar file and non-executable jar file. Executable jar file and a non-executable file jar file. Okay guys. Next point, the jar file which contains entry point. The jar file which contains entry point is called as executable jar file and also called as runnable jar file. The jar file which contains entry point is called as executable jar file or runnable jar file. Runnable jar file. The jar file which contains entry point is called as executable jar file or runnable jar file. Note, if jar contains entry point, then only we can run that jar. If jar contains entry point, then only we can run that jar. Run that jar. If jar contains entry point, then only we can run that jar. If jar contains entry point, then only we can run that jar. If jar contains entry point, then only we can run that jar. Good? Huh? Yeah. All of you, could you please read all the jars concept? Yeah. Next one, we are setting the class path temporarily, right? How to set the class path permanently? Environment variables. How we are setting the path in the environment variables? In the same way we can set the class path also. Got it? Yes. Path. इसको कॉपी करते हैं ना, वो लोकेशन कॉपी करना, c:/my project/jar/jar फाइल, वो पाथ कॉपी कर सकते हैं आप. Gone. If you want to set permanently, you can set in the environment variables. Guys, advanced Java classes are feeling easy or difficult? Arey yaar, Advanced Java not yet started. How can you tell it is easy or difficult? Is Advanced Java? Are we teaching Advanced Java? Just basics of Java only. It is not Advanced Java. It is normal core Java concept only. Yeah, all of you read it. Read the points once. Whatever the notes I have given, just revise. Come on, guys, read it, and you can ask me if you have any questions. If jar contains two main methods, how to execute? For every application, there should be only one entry point. Sitaram, if you have two classes with main method, you need to specify only one entry point, which is your start point. Okay. And someone is asking a question. How do we know the names of the classes in the jar file? Good question, Abhishek. Tomorrow I will cover that part. Today we have Java 8 interview questions class. Yes, we have it 7:15. How to set class path permanently? We can set by using environment variables. Sir, why notes you are dictating? All right. Online people, any other questions? Huh. And guys, I have given portal access for advanced Java also. Did you guys check that? Huh. No. The people just go to our website, log in into our website now. Open your mobiles, log in into our website. Log in into our website. If you have account, you can log in directly. If you don't have, you can log in with Google sign in option is available. Once you log in into the account, there you can see my courses. In that you can see advanced Java. In the advanced Java, if you click on that, notes will be available in advanced Java. Daily I can't dictate the notes, guys. I will write the notes. I will upload the notes in the portal once the class is completed. Morning people, evening people, for both I have given the portal access. Check it once. If anybody did not get that access, please talk to admin. They will give the access for the portal. You know how to access that, right? You just need to log in into the website. Once you log in into the website, you will go to my courses page. Yeah, you can log in. If you don't have an account, just sign in with the Google Plus. You can log in into website. Once you log in into the website, you will see my courses page. In the my courses, advanced Java course will be displayed for you people. In the advanced Java course, when you click on view notes, the notes will be displayed also. I will upload in the portal. I want everybody to complete this task before coming to tomorrow's session. I want everybody to complete this task before coming to tomorrow's session. Okay, guys. Good. Thank you. We'll continue in the tomorrow session. Yeah. Java 8 class is there at 7:15. Yeah, another 25 minutes. Yes. Online.